So this is going to be my second interview with one of my friends, and I learned some things in my first interview that I improved upon in my second interview. Instead of staring at a computer of an electric stove picture, we actually stood next to an electric stove and we turned it on and we played around with it. So we changed the setting a little bit.
As you watch this second video, I'll ask you to keep in mind a pretty similar set of questions, so take a minute to look at the slide. And now in this short clip that we're going to look at, Helen and her interviewee have been talking a little about the differences between gas and electric stoves before getting into the details of electric ones.
You think that they're like two different forms of...
See, I was going to say that maybe there's a gas component in the back, but I'm not sure. I've never heard that before.
Okay. So what type of stove did you say this was if it's not gas?
It's electric.
Okay.
Electric stove. But see, these are getting red, so...
yeah. I thought you turned on this one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wouldn't touch that. And you can feel the heat if it's generated.
Definitely.
So, whatever these things are, I'm assuming that it's fully connected all the way around. See, it looks like a big spiral that goes into something. And whatever it is, it heats up this. I don't know what material that is.
Yeah, just some type of metal, I guess you can say for now.
Whatever this metal is, heats it up, and since it's spiral, the heat is dispersed through the metal. It seems like a very good conductor of heat, and that's how the heat is dispersed, and so that you can distribute different levels to it.
Through this?
Right.
So what does this have an effect of, like, how do you know that this affects how much heat comes out?
Because it says high and low.
So what is that, like, do you think it tells you how much, like, I guess if it was gas, what would it tell you?
If it was gas, it would still say high and low, but you would actually be able to physically see how much gas it's outputting. So the same with this, it's just how much heat that whatever the power source is that's giving this, that's distributing the heat, it's however much power it's giving it to, like however much heat that it's applying to the metal. That's what it's telling you if you want more.
Okay, so do you mean power or heat is being distributed? Is it like the power that eventually
translates into the heat? Whatever is generating the heat. Whatever is, well, yeah.
So what does generate the heat in this?
I'm not sure, but I believe that the metal is just it holds the heat, it contains the heat, but I don't think it's generating it.
So what do you think would make it in this type of stove, I guess?
That's what I'm not sure about. I don't know if it would be like some type of circuit or like metal within that.
What do you mean by the circuit?
Like I kind of am envisioning like I don't know.
What was the image that came to your mind?
It was like two, I think it was like aluminum wires that conduct, but that may be electricity, which could still heat up.
In my second clip, I realized that I needed to listen more to my interviewee instead of trying to lead him to certain answers. I kind of stepped back and I let him take control of the conversation. I would also ask more vague questions to see where he would direct our conversation and exactly what he was thinking, so I would let him lead instead of me trying to lead him as much. I also didn't bring up certain scientific terms until he used them, and when he would use them, I would ask him to explain them a little more in depth or see what he meant by them. Because sometimes students can use words that they don't know exactly or they don't know what they fully mean. So it's good to find their understanding of that. Yeah, I was pretty surprised that throughout our discussion, he ended up coming to a pretty solid theory from what he was just stumbling across. And through that, he was actually able to pull together all of his thoughts into one consolidated theory that was pretty much correct.
So I asked Helen if she could share any of the big takeaways she had from this experience with us.
So what I took away from both of my interviews and from tutoring in general is that teaching doesn't have to be a fast process. It can take time. And in order for a student to fully understand a concept, you have to start from what they actually know. And so don't assume they already know something. Try to figure out what they actually understand and build on that. I think students are more capable than we might realize because a lot of the time we don't give them enough time to explain for themselves. And instead of letting students think for themselves and come to their own theories, we end up guiding them too often. And so allowing there to be more patience and more time and deeper understanding of students' mental models, I think that will really help.
So if you haven't tried this kind of more open-ended approach of talking with students, I encourage you to try this out on friends and family. And when I was a physics grad student, I'd actually rope my housemates sometimes into talking with me about some of the open-ended questions I was going to be using, just to kind of get a sense of the range of how students might approach it. So I was a lot more comfortable in the classroom once I had some idea of what to expect. And as Helen's instructor wrote into her project description, so I'll just read it from a quote here, many kinds of questioning are useful in the classroom, and this is one kind that many people have little practice with. And yet it can really help us as instructors to understand what student ideas are possible to build upon and can support students in making connections.